It's up to you, New York, New York.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm your host, Richie. Going to do a brief show because I got to hit on the crazy happenings in the Bronx yesterday. 11-10 victory for the New York Yankees. And I want to say this before I even start talking about the game itself. Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, yesterday proving why they are both eventually going to make it to Cooperstown and be first ballot Hall of Famers. It's been a while since Mike Trout has been able to show how great he is due to injury, wear and tear on his body over the years. And, you know, Mike Trout, one of the players that I genuinely have always felt for because he always gives 110%. Great player, great person out of Toms River, New Jersey, but has never really been surrounded with enough talent to ever have a real chance at a world championship in Los Angeles. And he's seen Shohei Ohtani come to the Angels as a teammate, light the baseball world on fire, and eventually go to greener pastures, winning championships with the other Los Angeles team, the more decorated Los Angeles team. Of course, I'm talking about the Dodgers. Last night, between stealing a home run and hitting two of his own, Mike Trout showed that when healthy, he is still that dude. Aaron Judge and Mike Trout on the competitive side of things, really acknowledging each other's greatness yesterday, something that I think was really cool for the sport, something that I just think is really cool in general. Aaron Judge went yard twice. Jose Caballero, an uncommon power source, took one deep. And his plus-minus ratios on runs is an interesting one. You know, Will Warren started off well, actually did not give up a hit going into the fourth inning. But between defensive blunders, between Jose Caballero as well as Paul Goldschmidt, the inning continued. And the Angels were able to extinguish a 4-0 deficit, tying the game there. Trent Grisham pinch hit later in the game for Randall Grichuk. He made Aaron Boone look like a genius as he took one deep over the wall towards right field. Only made it to about the second row of right field, so he needed every little bit of that. And later in the game, homered again. In between, the Angels were able to tie it at 7-7 as well as tie it at 8-8. Mike Trout goes yard late in the game, giving the Angels a 10-8 lead. And in the final inning, it came down to Jose Caballero stealing a base and ultimately coming home on a wild pitch. It really was a crazy game, and I was talking in Yankees Daily. Definitely check out Yankees Daily if you love the New York Yankees on Facebook. A lot of great conversations there. The Angels and Yankees have a history, particularly in the Bronx, of playing these kind of wacky games. I remember as a kid going to a game. My father needed to be out of the stadium a little earlier than he had wanted to. The Yanks were up 12-2. Ultimately, the game ended 12-10. We saw a lot of these wacky kind of games when Ohtani was a member of the Angels. Just a lot of back and forth, almost like arena baseball. But the Yankees secure the dub. And it was much needed, extinguishing that 5-game losing streak. It looked like it was going to grow to 6. And, I said it on my short yesterday. It's not the kind of game that anyone is going to want to revisit the pitching tape of. But those are the kind of games that sometimes can galvanize a team, because it was a game that the Yankees refused to lose. And there is something to be said about that. A character-defining win. Early in the year, it's home, so they're 8th. They 8-7, now grows to 9-7. They have a half-game lead in the East. They were comfortably ahead prior to the trip to St. Petersburg. But the Yankees are 9-7, sole possession of first place in the early going American League East. Yankees forever rivals, the Boston Red Sox, really had a rough go yesterday out in Minnesota. Garrett Crochet, who was a perennial Cy Young Award winner, just lit up. 10 earned runs, only records 1.2 innings pitched. And I'm not trying to speculate, but I question if Garrett Crochet is injured. Because normally guys of his kind of talent level, when they have that kind of a stink bomb on the mound, it's something to be concerned about. So I hope he's all right, and I hope it was just a bad day, because regardless of team affiliation, I want the best players to be active and playing. New York Mets get shut out in LA 4-0 to the Dodgers. The Mets offense just isn't cooking consistently without Juan Soto, so definitely miss the richest player in the history of Major League Baseball contract-wise. So, I'm sure Met fans cannot wait for Juan Soto to return. Moving it along to the hardwood, we have the NBA play-in starting today. We've got 2 games. I'm going to start with the game in the Eastern Conference. We got the Miami Heat taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Could be a good game. These are 2 teams that I think out of lower seeded play-in teams are the 2 that would have the most appeal to somebody that can knock down a bigger seeded team. But I really like the way the Hornets have played once being a healthy unit. I think if they were healthy for the majority of the year, they would be further along in the Eastern Conference standings. Of course, the Miami Heat have a great history of being a lower seeded team and making things happen in the Eric Spoelstra era. It's not just the big 3 of LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. This is a coach that has always been able to get the most out of his squad. Particularly, you look at the bubble season where they made the finals as an 8th seed, in the past, doing some serious damage and losing the finals that year to the Denver Nuggets. This is a Heat team that can never be taken lightly. Now, having said all that, I just think that the team chemistry of the Hornets is going to win out today. Give me the Charlotte Hornets by a final of 111-100. 11-point victory for the Charlotte Hornets. Out west, we've got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Portland Trailblazers. I'm looking for a high-scoring affair there. Give me, behind Devin Booker's 39 points, the Phoenix Suns winning 117-111. So I got the Suns and the Heat moving on today. Really excited about the upcoming NFL draft. You get so many different reports. Recently, Daniel Jeremiah spoke about my beloved New York Football Giants and saying that while everybody assumes that it's going to be Ohio State's Sonny Styles, it could potentially be Ohio State's wide receiver, Carnell Tate. You're going to forever, at this point of the juncture with the draft coming up, going to hear all kinds of conflicting stories, conflicting opinions. I would be happy with either player. You bring in a guy like a Carnell Tate, he is a complete receiver. Pairing him with a Malik Neighbors who's coming off a serious knee injury, that could be something devastating. I mean, some people feel that the Giants should go put Jeremiah Love in that backfield with Cam Scatabo, while others feel that it's time to finally draft a linebacker. Sonny Styles, if we do draft him, or if we draft Arvell Reese, would be the first linebacker drafted by the New York Giants in round 1 since Giants legend number 58, Carl Banks. It's been that long since the New York Football Giants have drafted a linebacker that early. This is a draft, in my opinion, that is very rich in good receivers, and it's very rich all around the board in defense. Not the kind of draft where you're going to get great quarterbacks maybe outside of Fernando Mendoza, and all due respect to Fernando Mendoza, I'm not convinced that he's going to transcend great at the NFL level. But we have to see what happens. You know, being the number one pick, a lot of pressure. You look at some of the failed number one picks over the years, and truth be told, a lot of number one picks do not pan out as great as people believe. You know, Alex Smith was a number one pick. Good win-loss percentage, never won the big one, got close. Some people feel that Eli Manning's overrated. I'm not one of those people, but a lot of people do. And of course, there have been some other nightmarish number one picks at the quarterback position, but definitely the most important position in the NFL today, and definitely a position that the Raiders are more than likely going to address immediately when the draft starts. But you never know. There could always be a huge package coming where the Raiders feel that they can really win the draft. So we will see which way the Raiders are leaning when this all gets going. Draft shows to come. They are on the horizon. We are already getting with our panel and working out days where we're going to be doing multiple mock drafts coming up as the NFL draft swiftly approaches. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out Old Man Energy Volumes 1 and 2. Idris also has another project out, Big Bosco Productions. Really proud of my co-host putting in work. Check out our friends at the Casual Convo Show every Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. And also check out our guys at the Sports Corner, Joe Gal and Johnny Nast, my two favorite Eagle fans. And believe me, guys, that's a short list. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Stay blessed, stay focused, and stay humble. Hope you all have a phenomenal day. Ryan Shed. By the way, guys, I'm driving to work, my less fun job. So if I haven't been up in the comments, my apologies. Shed, I'm doing good, man. How are you? Richard Dorney, I just spoke to him on the phone briefly while I was waiting for my dog to finally go to the bathroom. Fuck the Mets and double fuck David Stearns, also fuck Philly. All right, Rich. Definitely Rich in a jovial mood this morning. We spoke off air. I understand a little more as to why. Shed, give me a holler tonight, dude, if you're available. I should be home a little after 7 p.m., so hit me up, Shed. I'd like to catch up with you, Richie. You know, you could always call me whenever you want. We spoke briefly earlier. Anything else on the brain? I'll say it real quick. I look forward to getting Brett Bandick on the panel. I want to hear what he has to say about this Mike Vrabel stuff. Very interesting. NFL getting some scandal here, potentially. But because it's the Patriots and because I love breaking Brett Bandick's balls, it's always enjoyable to give him a hard time. So, Brett, I'll let you, boy. Everyone, sincerely for me, though, have a great day. And enjoy the full baseball slate coming up. I tell you what, man, last thought on my mind, I got to give it up for the Minnesota Twins for a second here. This is a division that I usually don't give any love to. And even though the Tigers are a premier team, I often say how average and how mediocre and how whatever the American League Central is. But the Minnesota Twins right now have been standing up to teams that are expected to do a lot of good things this year. And the Twins in the early going really look good. So shout out to the Minnesota Twins. We'll see if they can keep it up. And I did say going into the season that the Athletics and the Pirates were going to be a lot more competitive than people realize. And so far I've been proven right. You know, the Pirates actually improved that roster a little. The Athletics, truthfully, have some really good pitching. And if the bats catch up, I think the Athletics could be quite the surprise in the West as the year continues to roll. I would like to see the Texas Rangers improve their first base situation. We'll see if that comes to fruition. There's a certain slugger in Philadelphia that I think would make a lot of sense. Not one of Dorney's favorites, but just my opinion. I'm out for now. Enjoy the baseball games today. Let's go Yankees. Let's start a winning streak. I'm out.